Well, we introduced him very briefly at the start of the song. His name is Andy Scott. He is the guitarist with the Suite. He's coming to Australia, but before he does that, he's on the phone. I can even see him on Zoom. Hello, Andy.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Doing very well indeed. Thanks for being part of the Two Blokes Chatting radio show. It's a real thrill.
Yeah, well, it says two blokes, but there's only you, Neil. So,
well, there is that.
I'll be the other bloke.
That's it. Rob apologises because it's a pre-record. He can't be here. So yes, there is another one. He's now sitting watching this and very thrilled that you've observed that he's not part of it. So take us back to where it all started. I know that you joined the band around 1970, but before that, tell us a little bit about your musical interests and how you got to be a guitarist.
When you're in school and you're starting your bands and you're meeting people and everybody's got a guitar. There was no bass player.
Right.
Like Paul McCartney.
Yep.
And so I said, I'll be the bass player. I don't have a problem with that. So for the first 3 years, probably something like that, I was a bass player and getting a bit of a name for myself around my local area. And that particular band that was getting places supported Jimi Hendrix on his first ever tour in the beginning of '67. And Hey Joe had just hit the charts, and I said to my singer, that's what I want to be. I don't want to be in this sort of covers band, you know. And he said, no, I'm with you. And he played the Hammond organ as well. So we had a starting point of a good band, and we called the band the Elastic Band because we could all play different, you know, it was quite an elastic thing. We had my brother, bass player, could play saxophone. The singer could play Hammond organ and flute, and I could play, you know, all manner of stringed instruments.
Yep.
So, and we started to get somewhere. We started to play on tours with like Pink Floyd and a lot of Deep Purple, you know, bands that were all. This is like 1960, late '67, '68, and. It got to a point where you need that extra push.
Yes.
And the extra push was the singer leaving to join another band.
Well, that helps. Yeah.
So I ended up working with Paul McCartney's brother, Mike McCartney, in a band called The Scaffold.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. And from there, I realized that my brother and we moved to London. And after a few months there, playing with a band, that came to nothing. And I answered the typical advert in the Melody Maker and went along. And I'd met the Suite before when they came to a Radio 1 roadshow, which the Elastic Band used to play a lot of these roadshows.
Yeah.
And they came along, and we had a chat to them, obviously. And then, so when I walked into the interview room, as it were, they all knew me. So it was a done deal once we'd played a little bit. And 6 months later, there we are in the charts, you know.
And is it true that on that day you did an audition for another band on the same day?
Yeah. Well, earlier in the day, a band called the Alan Bown set. I'll tell you who got the gig. It was... the guy who did Addicted to Love,
Robert Palmer.
Robert Palmer.
Wow.
Yeah, but when I went down there in the afternoon, they had an electrical fault problem in the building, and they couldn't. But they knew me because we'd done gigs with them with the Elastic Band, and he said, "I think you'd be great, but we can't do anything right now." So I said, "Okay." So I went back home. Luckily, it was only a tube ride. To where they were, and then I went in the evening to the one with Suite. And when they said, "Well, you know, we'd like you to do it," I had to phone the other guys and say, "I've taken this other gig," you know.
Yeah. Now, if you line up those two bands, the Alan Bown set and the Suite, one's a little better known, certainly in Australia, and I suspect across the world. Bit of a sliding doors moment.
Yeah, the Alan Bown was. I loved their music. I loved the singer ended up working with Alan Parsons on the Alan Parsons project.
Okay. Yep.
And the sax player ended up joining Supertramp.
It just
So
sounds,
it was a
just sounds like one big happy family, the English music industry.
well, it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You
it certainly happens here in Australia.
you find your way. Well, yeah. Everybody I've met in Australia knows everybody. All the bands. And I remember when we were looking for. Trying to remember exactly what it was, but we were looking for a sax player,
Yeah.
and of course Wilbur Wilde showed up.
There you go. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, a fine exponent of the sax. So
and we'd met him on Hey Hey It's Saturday. So
there you go. Well, where I live, I am now one street away from that studio where you would have had when we had done Hey Hey It's Saturday. So it's we all know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
So. It must be just mind-blowing to realise that suddenly you're on the charts. And I've got a list of the songs that charted here in Australia, Hellraiser, Ballroom Blitz, Teenage Rampage, Peppermint Twist, Fox on the Run, Lovers Like Oxygen. It's just an absolute catalogue of the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, we when we went on Top of the Pops, I'm trying to remember which song it was for. It might have been for Fox on the Run.
Yeah.
Everybody was kind of saying to us that we were, I remember at the beginning they were saying, "Oh, this band will only have a couple of hits," and Mick had a T-shirt done which said 13-hit wonder.
Yeah, fair enough. And in amongst all of that, somewhere you stopped being the Sweet and became Sweet. What was the decision around that?
There was a lot of stuff going on, remember, that you couldn't change The Who.
Right. No, that wouldn't work.
Because, but Slade were out there.
Yeah.
And as you say, Mud.
Yes.
And it just seemed simple to just say, we're Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not The Sweet. And it was when we signed the second deal with RCA that I think it started. I think it might have been with either Ballroom Blitz or Teenage Rampage was the first record that had just Sweet on it.
Yeah, okay. So as a young fella, coming into the music industry, I guess it's what you dream of to be that famous, but it must be a real shock to the system.
I remember the first time on Top of the Pops, I think everybody but Brian was a bit nervous. Mm-hmm. Brian, this was his pinnacle now.
Yeah.
He's got to where he wanted to be, and I'm just thinking to myself, don't be a twat, don't do something stupid.
Yeah,
don't knock the mic over.
Yeah, and a lot of that, most of that was lip sync, wasn't it? Was mimed, wasn't it?
Later,
okay.
Those early recordings, we had to do some of the vocals live.
Right. Okay.
And then there was then they brought out the one where you're allowed to use a backing track, but you have to record it.
Right. Okay.
And at that time, with one or two of our records in those early days, we didn't play on those early records. We didn't actually play the musical instruments.
Okay.
So it's like saying to a band, "You've made a great record. Now go and it up."
Yeah.
And so we went into the recording studio, and there was this one time where we had to Little Willie. The song Little Willie.
Yep.
We had to play the backing track because the guy sat there for the whole 3 hours.
Yep.
Normally, they get taken to the pub and we're able to substitute the original recording on a separate tape because they had to take away a 2-inch master as well.
Right. Yep.
Not just the finished article in the first time. And I'm thinking, God, this is nuts. And but it was the Musicians Union more than the BBC that were pushing for this to make sure that anybody who played on the records got their fee.
Yeah.
But you see, in our situation, it was half the, especially Little Willie. There was a bit of the band on there. There was somebody else playing a piano. There was somebody doing this. So in the end, it was easier for us to just get in there with the pianist, and just do it.
Yeah. Because
we'd been doing it at the BBC anyway. In fact, we asked. Remember we did Little Willie, as our next single at the BBC, one of the sessions. Could we just not use that tape? Oh no, you have to do it again. So,
yeah. No.
And then there was the one of where you you can now completely mime. And as soon as that started,
Yep.
everybody started to play the the antics. You know,
Yeah.
you had people turning the guitar over and
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
You had uh, 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 Boomtown Rats, the sax
Yeah.
solo was done. He's playing a candelabra, you
Yeah.
know.
And Michelle Phillips famously ate a banana during one of her performances because in protest.
Oh, right. Here we are.
Yeah. So you obviously toured the world with Sweet. You would have done some of the really big venues as well, I suspect.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the first time, I think it was the second time we came to Australia, because the first time was just a flying visit. We played the Horden Pavilions.
Yep.
I think we did 2 nights there.
Yep.
There were lots of bands on that bill. There was Sherbet,
Okay. Yep.
Andy Gibb,
Yep.
because I remember one of the other brothers was with him. They didn't talk to us. The guys from Sherbet did, but
Yeah.
the Bee Gees didn't,
Yeah.
And there was a band on really early, and somebody said it was AC/DC that was on like first or something like that.
Yeah.
Whether it was them or not, I'm not sure. But I'm not. Were they called something before AC/DC?
No, I don't believe so. No.
Right. Okay.
And I'm old enough to remember one of my mates went to high school in suburban Melbourne and had AC/DC as their lunchtime band. That's back in the old Bon Scott days, obviously.
Yeah. I'm wondering whether it was Bon Scott's band then that was opening
Could be. Yeah, I don't know.
before the AC/DC thing.
Yeah, I reckon AC/DC probably kicked off in 73, 74, something like that.
Well, that's the right era then.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andy, we're going to have another song, if that's all right with you. We're going to cut and we're going to take a song that I asked you which one you wanted me to play, and dealer's choice. We're going to hear the song that was a hit in 1978, got to number 6 in Australia. It's called Love Is Like Oxygen. I'm talking to Andy Scott from Sweet. We'll be back in a minute. And that was Love Is Like Oxygen out of 1978 by Sweet. And I am delighted to be talking to Andy Scott, who's the guitarist with Sweet. Sadly, Andy, your bandmates from that classic lineup have all now passed on, but you're carrying the name of the band around the world still.
Yeah. Look, what do you do? Do you say they've gone? Because all that will happen is it will open the floodgates for a few tribute bands to come and make a bit of a mess of it, perhaps.
Yep.
There's only one tribute band that I've ever seen, and we did a gig with them in Switzerland, was the Australian Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Yep. And quite frankly, I think they were as good, if not better, than the Pink Floyd the last time I saw them.
Yeah. Now
as the original band.
There's a band here called Echoes of Pink Floyd. It might have been that one. We've interviewed Paul from that band, and they are exceptional. And I think they play in the same venue. We've seen them play in the same venue that you'll be playing when you're down here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's they play bigger in Europe. They play bigger venues than we do.
Wow.
As a tribute act.
Wow.
And it's but all I can say is, if you do it right and you talk, I even believe, and I don't know whether this is true, but we think that the Pink Floyd management manage them.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's handy.
Because when they go on tour in Europe, they've got that big circular screen.
Okay. Yes.
And all the little effects and everything. So if you're going to do it, do it right.
Properly. Absolutely. Well, you're going to spend. We're recording this, folks. It's a pre-record. Obviously, that's why Rob's not here. We're recording this in June, and we're playing this on the radio in late June. But you're going to be doing some touring across Europe during August and September. But excitingly, you land in Australia in October, starting off in Perth. And working your way around, you are going to be in Victoria. You're going to be at Narre Warren. Now, that's somewhere you've never been to, I'm tipping. Out in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne at Bunjil Place. That's November the 12th. You'll be playing in the centre of the universe, that is to say Geelong, at Costa Hall on Friday the 13th of November. And then you'll be doing a show at the Palais Theatre in St Kilda on the 14th. You would have played the Palais before, I would have thought.
Yeah, a while back, but I have to say one of the best gigs I ever saw at the Palais was Meatloaf.
Oh, okay.
We had a night off.
Yep.
And of course, we had to go down and see him,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we had, my favourite Palais was 1973 when you were busy having a ballroom blitz. John English and Trevor White, amongst other, including Marsha Hines, did Jesus Christ Superstar. It was exceptional.
I have to say, I love John English. He was a lovely man.
Yeah, we had the good fortune to interview Jonathan English, his son, about 6 or 8 weeks ago. They're re-releasing a lot of John's stuff. There's now an outfit in Sydney, Brisbane, doing that at the moment, which is great.
We saw him. We saw him in the Mikado.
Okay, yeah, you would.
He was playing the main protagonist. Titi Kaka or whatever. The Shogun Guard.
Yeah, and what an exceptional talent that he could play pretty good rock and roll stuff all the way through to Gilbert and Sullivan. As well as that, he was a great actor and a comedic actor as well. He was an absolute ripper. Sadly, gone too early.
We did a Rock the Boat with him as well, not too long ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if I was to front up at Costa Hall on the 13th of November or the Palais on the 14th of November, if you're listening to this somewhere else in Australia on the internet, go and check thesuite.com. You can see where they're. What can I expect for my night at the theatre?
It would be rude not to play the hits, wouldn't it?
I would have thought so.
Yeah. So there's going to be a mixture of, most of the hits.
Yeah.
With a few of the heavy rock tracks, from the albums. We had a new album, Full Circle, so there'll be a couple of tracks from that.
Yep.
And also, if we've got anything new, we'll see. We sometimes like to throw a song that nobody's heard just for the effect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Geelong's a good place to practice, isn't it? If you see whether you get any response.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, it's been absolutely delightful having a chat to you. It's I still find it quite bizarre that when I was in year 7 and 8, I was bopping around to Fox on the Run and Ballroom Blitz and all sorts of stuff. And here I am now all these years later chatting to you. It's an absolute thrill. And we can't wait to see you down here in Australia in November. Get down here and we'll get some music going.
Well, I will hope to meet you backstage somewhere in Geelong then.
Sounds like a plan to me. I appreciate that greatly. We're going to go out with a song. I reckon people might know this one. It's called Fox on the Run. What do you reckon?
I think so.
Andy Scott from the Suite, thank you so much for your time and thanks for being on the Two Blokes Chatting radio show.